Hello and welcome, Star Wars fans, to this week's episode of Duel of the Ranks, a show where we debate takes so hot they'd melt a planet with twin suns. My name's Brian, and I'm joined by my co-host Amanda to debate where these episodes rank amongst all Star Wars content. This week we'll be discussing the Clone Wars Season 2, Episodes 16 and 17, and Amanda, we have finally made it to the beginning of the show.
Yeah, I know, right?
I love that they did that.
Just 2 seasons and some change in.
And
Is this finally where it starts to like turn on for you? Like you're like, okay, now I'm finally invested. Because I know like up to this point, it's been sort of a harder buy-in for you.
It's been up and down. I mean, just chronologically speaking, the cat and mouse episode is chronologically the first episode of the entire show. It takes place before the movie.
Oh, wow. I guess I didn't even realize that.
Yeah. Yep. No Ahsoka. This is before they really get into the meat of the Christophsis stuff. So I guess it's still before their duel with Asajj Ventress in the previous season. And it's got a great villain. It's got lots of great music, good, interesting action scenes. I honestly forgot how much I love both of these episodes, but let's start with episode 16, which is Cat and Mouse. You want to give us a little synopsis here?
Yeah. So Senator Bail Organa is besieged on Christophsis, running out of supplies as Separatist forces close in. Anakin Skywalker and Admiral Yularen attempt to break the blockade, but Separatist Admiral Trench's flagship poses a threat. Obi-Wan Kenobi arrives with a stealth ship designed to infiltrate the blockade, not engage. Trench, presumed dead, leads the Separatists. Yularen discovers Trench's past tactics, guiding Anakin to exploit a weakness in Trench's tracking torpedoes. Anakin's bold maneuver destroys Trench's flagship, allowing the Republic to counterattack and deliver supplies to Organa. Despite concerns, Anakin's unorthodox tactics earned admiration and gratitude once again.
As always, Anakin is just always admired and gratituded.
It helps that he's so cute too.
It doesn't hurt. It does. It definitely
like,
does not hurt.
It's like you want to pinch his cheeks and be like, okay, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's okay. You can break the rules as long as you blow something else up. Which I thought there was a really cool Last Jedi connection in this episode. Now that Brody's not here, we can both just gush over how much we love The Last Jedi.
Let's go. Tell me what you picked up on.
This is how we're going to win. Not fighting what we hate, but saving what we love. They basically say that in this episode. And
you're so right.
I am just still very sad that everyone dogs on that line from Rose, because I think it is probably the best message in any Star Wars movie. And it's kind of awkward in the context of them blowing up the Rebel base in the background of that shot.
Yeah.
But it sums up the theme of the movie so well and adds so much depth to just like what this war is about. You know, it's not about just blowing up the big gun. It's about saving the people we love, getting them supplies down to Christophsis.
Yeah.
Down to Bail Organa.
Yeah, I mean, we got into that tomato, Han or Han situation, but I definitely picked up on Anakin's emphasis of Organa, and it felt purposeful, like a purposeful choice by Matt Lanter. I don't know if that's kind of like a nod at how George Lucas has been on record before saying like it really doesn't matter how you pronounce Han Solo, and if that's just sort of his way of kind of tongue-in-cheek keeping that in, or I don't know.
I think people get very offended when their names are mispronounced, and as an Uber driver, I'm sure I've mispronounced thousands of names, but
no, as you were like reading the intro to the episode, you said, "I'm your host, Brian," and I was like, "Oh my god, he said the wrong name," and I was like, "Oh no, that's not Brody."
Am I Brian? Oh, I'm okay. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, Brody's not here. I'm
not
Brian.
Used to hearing it.
I know it's different, but hey, we're still here, and I mean, Organa, Leia. That's kind of the one I always think of when Lando's kind of mispronouncing things. But yeah, it is definitely a long-running theme throughout Star Wars. Count Dooku. Like I love just hearing George Lucas just not give a flying fart what you think of his naming conventions or what their lasting impact is.
Yeah, I liked that. That was just I also love that there was that Easter egg of like, help us, General Kenobi, you're our only hope. So
right?
poetry, I thought that was,
It's like,
yeah,
well, it rhymes. And especially coming from Bale, Leia's father, which I thought this was kind of, I love seeing Anakin and Bale interact because Bale is kind of Anakin's baby's daddy. And he's Anakin's baby daddy, pretty, pretty much. That's the guy that's going to raise his daughter. So it's cool seeing them,
that's
engage on
true.
some level
It's also
unknowingly.
his like father-in-law.
Wait, Bail Organa is Anakin's father-in-law?
Yeah, because if he's married to, oh no 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 no
Oh,
no no
that
no
would
no
be
no,
weird.
sorry, no, that's wrong.
They're just friends.
Yeah,
Yes, Padme and
yeah, they
Bail
just do the
are
dap, you know.
they're just yeah they're just political homies,
Yeah.
as they say.
I also liked that this episode had this weird, like, it wasn't weird, but it was like this kind of side story featuring this new clone that gets his chance to, like, all right, it's your turn to step up into the ranks. And
Mm,
new queerhead canon, Bale is Anakin's baby daddy.
it's
Wow.
canon.
All right.
You're welcome,
I'm
Star Wars
adding
fans.
those tags to my feed right now. But yeah, I thought that was kind of like a cute, it felt very epic. So when you say that it's like the first episode of the series,
Mhm.
that kind of sets the stage for it in this way. Like you kind of expect a feature episode, to have those little underlying storylines that you saw also wrap up by the end of the episode.
Mhm.
Like, he lives and they succeed. So it's
Right.
good.
I forget, was Admiral Trench in season 1? Because I feel like maybe I just watched ahead. I keep like getting ahead of myself and then having to go back, so I'm getting the order confused.
I know. I was also confused. I don't think he has appeared thus far,
Okay.
but I know that he appears again
He does survive
because,
this.
right, because he also in this episode, like, he was presumed dead before he showed up here.
That's true.
So, which is funny because when you watch Anakin like blow up his ship, he like basically like dive bombs like directly into the
Mhm.
bridge of the ship. And you're like, well, he's definitely dead.
For sure. That's one of the least survivable explosions I could have pictured happening to him. And I don't know, he just keeps coming back. So, I don't know, was he really kind of the first Star Wars characters to start doing this? Somehow Admiral Trench returned kind of thing?
Maybe it's another tie to The Last Jedi when Kylo Ren's like, war! And he's just like,
And when Phasma comes back too, yeah, I thought okay, I hope they keep bringing Trench back, and I really wish they had brought Phasma back for episode 9. I thought that would have been a great recurring joke, because episode 7, yeah, she's a cool character, one of my favorite designs in all of the sequel, in the all of the Disney era. I have like a 12-inch figurine of her. She's super cool. Love the
and
shiny
Gwendolyn
Beskar armor.
Christie, like, also
Oh
as a
yeah.
performer is just incredible. So it was, and also listening to her speak at Star Wars Celebration and talk about the role and how
Oh,
much she brought into it, so passionate. And I'm so sad that she didn't get more screen time.
not yet. Not yet.
Not
Maybe they'll bring
yet.
her back for episode 10.
Give her
or
her
whenever
own
the Rey
Disney
movie
Plus
finishes.
series. That's what I want.
I would love a Phasma. Like, she's got a book that I've heard synopses of, and it's pretty dark and intense. Like the training she went through.
I bet you could convince Gwendolyn Christie to like produce something like that. Like, I
Yeah.
bet she would throw her own money around if she was like, I want to add a new credit to my name.
I
So
mean, maybe that's what the Benioff and Weiss, the Game of Thrones creators, they were going to make a Star Wars show. Maybe that's could have been part of it, tying in the whole Game of Thrones family. But unfortunately, that project has long since been canned.
yeah.
And we were getting Game of Thrones in the form of The Mandalorian, kind of, and I don't love it. I think Mandalorian would be better as a bounty hunter show, as a Western. But yeah, I love the trope of Phasma coming back. If it's like a minor character that doesn't have, these huge implications on the lore or the plot,
it's kind of like, it becomes like the Wilhelm scream,
right.
You just kind of are like
It's
excited for it. It's like, ha!
Oh, she's back again. Oh, Trench is back again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Except I really do not like Trench. I am very anti-Spider.
Anti-Spider?
I
Wow.
mean, I thought everything else about his character, that's why I still gave the characters like a solid like 3 out of 5. As much as I hate the design of Admiral Trench, I love the voice
So
actor
mean.
and everything else he like brings to this role. But I'm kind of like spider
You
racist.
just don't you just don't like spiders. They're such an important part of our ecosystem.
I know they are.
They're
I
so
know.
cute. They just got their little pincers and their little arms, and they're fuzzy sometimes. I don't know. I
No,
like
I really hate
spiders.
that part. I'm glad they exist. I just wish I like didn't have to interact with them. I try to interact with them on a minimum. Yeah.
I get it. I get it. That's probably wise. I'm immune to spiders, so I don't have to be afraid. I got bit by a brown recluse when I was like 3, and I survived. So
So you
now
are
I'm just
Spider-Man.
homies. I haven't gotten the cool stuff yet. Just all the the anxiety of those. My spidey senses are always tingling, but I got none of the super strength or anything fun. So we'll
Its
see if that
poison is just
happens.
like mental illness.
Yes, thank you. It just gave me
Oh,
ADHD.
thanks.
Yeah,
Cool.
yeah.
Well, you and I both ranked this episode like very like equally. Like
Pretty
I gave
excited.
it
Yeah,
a
solid.
67.6 and you gave it a 68.4.
Yeah.
And Brody's traveling, so he hasn't been able to get his numbers in yet, but I bet he's going to like this episode.
I think so too. I don't know what he feels about like World War II history and stuff, but I love the World War II tactics of this and how like you mentioned it feels like a very epic episode, but like in terms of scope, it's actually like really it's more like a Jaws movie. Like it's
Mhm.
pretty self-contained and small, but it's so intense and it's so like I love it as like a precursor to like this big battle of Christophsis, which is like the first major battle of the Clone Wars, since Geonosis that we see. But I think Brody will like it too because it's unique, but it's there's never a dull moment. It's just intense the whole time. A little bit like the
And
submarine
just
sound
even like
effects.
even the concept of the stealth ship is like super badass, and I love how that adds to like the lore and the universe of Star Wars.
Yeah, and I was kind of conflicted for a second because there's the line in Empire Strikes Back, no ship that small has a cloaking device, and I was like, wait a second, that contradicts that. But then later in the episode, Anakin says ships this small don't usually have a cloaking device, so it kind of reframes that line as like, okay, that officer was just kind of being presumptuous, and that's always their downfall, right? Is that they assume
Yeah,
that these rebels are. Well, I mean, they didn't have a cloaking device. He was right, but it is the Empire's arrogance and Anakin's impressive tactics that win the day.
always. And you're so right. And that means that the writers took like great care in that detail, like calling that out. And like that's a great way to kind of bring in a new element that contradicts canon or something else that happened and still satisfy the audience like, hey, we acknowledge that.
We know. Yeah.
We know.
Chill, Brian.
Chill. You don't need to go to
thing.
Twitter. Just chill. Okay.
Yes. Yeah, before you ever go to Twitter, just watch the whole episode. There's another Last Jedi thing. I feel like a lot of the complaints about that movie, people just didn't even watch it. I like some of them just make no sense to me. So another Last Jedi connection to this episode, which is probably why we liked it so much.
I bet this is Ryan Johnson's favorite episode of the Clone Wars.
I would love to ask him that.
Ryan Johnson, if you're listening, hit us up. We would love to rank Star Wars with you.
Oh, for sure. He'd be a great guest. I'm sure he would love to. I'm sure he has absolutely no second thoughts or feelings about engaging in the Star Wars community at this point. But I do hope he gets his trilogy out still. It hasn't been deconfirmed, so like I'm still just hopeful for that. But I think he's been through the ringer, and that The Last Jedi has taken such an unfair amount of criticism. And
it'll come back around. It'll come back around. Give it, like 5 more years, and then everyone will be like, yeah,
right. And then they'll make the 12-hour analysis of them at that
point. Why it's so
good. Did you see that? I think it came out this week on YouTube. There's like a 12-hour analysis of the Phantom Menace.
Oh my God!
I don't know if you saw that in your feed.
No, no.
I started watching it, and it made me really sad that like the whole intro is all about like, oh, we're gonna give this a fair critique and look at all the good things and the bad things about it, and then it just goes out of its way to dog on the sequels, and I'm like, aren't you missing the point? Like, can't you treat
No, I
all of
think the
it with the
Phantom Menace
same?
is that bad.
I I don't know. I'm coming around to it. I think this guy's actually more critical of it than I am.
Mm.
Like, yeah, there's no characters, but like, I don't know. It's like I love that it's like this beautiful like parable of right and wrong and the origin of evil and all these great things. And I don't know. I think it's a lot smarter of a movie. It's definitely not very well executed.
But to talk about it for 12 hours, like, did he like already know that he could talk about it for 12 hours? Or did he just like, you know what, I'm just going to press record and I'm going to make myself talk for 12 hours?
It definitely feels very forced at the moment. It's there's a lot of cutaways. There's a lot of screen time that's just like, you know, random YouTube stuff that's not actually discussing or critiquing the show.
Okay.
So like I think you could
It's a little off
easily
topic.
cut it down to 10. And it would, I don't know, maybe it would be better. But I'm also kind of annoyed that he like skipped over one of my favorite lines. Like he's going into all these design elements and talking about
You
the
need to
Republic
be in the
Cruiser.
comments, dude. Like,
Do
that's
I?
what it sounds like. You
I
need to
don't
be
like
like, hey,
typing
man,
on
you're
the
skipping
internet.
over my favorite part.
No, the line where like it's like one of the opening lines. Master Yoda said I should be mindful of the future, but not at the expense of the moment. Be mindful of the living force. That's like the most interesting way to like start this movie is like talking about philosophy and how Qui-Gon and Yoda disagree, and this analysis just completely skipped all the philosophy of the movie, and it's just talking about lasers and spaceships, and that's just how some fans think, and that's cool because I like the lasers and spaceships too. But I think if you gave the spiritual side of Star Wars more attention, then maybe people could appreciate the sequels more, specifically The Last Jedi.
Yes. Yes.
But yeah, this episode of Cat and Mouse, not very spiritual, not super deep. I think it might be the first episode of the Clone Wars that I've actually ranked higher than you. I feel like I'm always the one to like really tank it. Even though I enjoy it, I don't think they're necessarily objectively very well put together. But this one got me really excited.
Yeah. And that's still to say we gave it like what Brody would be saying like a failing grade, but like in reality it's still like a really good episode of still the Clone Wars, and we have an even better one next if you're ready to talk about it.
I am so ready. Like I love Cat and Mouse, but like Bounty Hunters kind of blew my mind this watch through. So why don't you give us a synopsis of episode 17, a synopsis per se.
Anakin, Obi-Wan, and Ahsoka investigate a missing medical station near Felucia. Crashing on the planet, they discover a Nicelan spice farm village hiding from pirates demanding tribute. Bounty hunters Sugi, Embo, Rumi, and Serapis confront the Jedi, but the village elder seeks their help against the pirates. Hondo Naga, the pirate leader, appears amicable but refuses the Jedi's offer to pay him off. The Jedi train the villagers using farming tools as weapons. Farmers, bounty hunters, and Jedi unite to defend against the pirates. After a fierce battle, Hondo retreats. Grateful, Suji offers the Jedi a ride back to the Republic.
That story sounds familiar. Have you ever heard of anything like that?
I have heard of something or another or another or another.
Well, at the beginning of the episode, I don't know if you caught this, there's a title card that says in memory of Akira Kurosawa. And this plot is like beat for beat Seven Samurai. So I thought that was one more level of appreciation that I don't think I ever noticed before. I think I've only seen Seven Samurai like once, and it was kind of in the background. So I need to give that film the attention it deserves. But I love that they decided to just take that story into Star Wars because Kurosawa was one of the biggest influences on George Lucas. So that really gave the immersive universe like a extra boosted score for me, because it's not just connecting to the rest of the Star Wars world, but the influences of Star Wars.
And film, and and Kurosawa, had made such an impression and a name for his study. And I'm not sure if he really got as much recognition about like if George Lucas gave him enough recognition at the time of like Star Wars blowing up for like what he took from it.
Mhm.
So to hear and see this like nod to him is really cool. And it's a story that is kind of as old as time. Like we've seen it still recycled. And I think of that Mandalorian episode where, you know, he's helping the widow prepare for a fight where they're outnumbered again. And
Mhm.
it's just a really good feel good story.
That's the Cara Dune episode, right?
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, okay. I liked that. I haven't been back to see season 1 in a while, actually. So I kind of forgot about that.
That's
but yeah, it
that's
is
one of the best.
same kind of thing with pirates attacking the village, and let's just hire
We're
bounty
not,
hunters. We
yeah,
can't fight.
we don't fight. Yeah.
And then they learn to
I
believe in
loved
themselves.
the Felucian species. They
Oh
are
yeah,
so cute. And this
I
is their
know.
first appearance.
Yeah. And I love the leader of the Felucian. Did you catch the voice actor who's
No.
playing? Oh my gosh. Okay,
Who
I
is
thought
it?
you would. It's the voice actor for Uncle Iroh. And if Uncle Iroh isn't your favorite character of all time, then you just haven't seen The Last Airbender. And it's
I thought, yeah, his voice did sound familiar. And
yeah.
I'm so glad that you helped me link those two.
I think it's a bit more similar to some of his other characters. Like he also plays Aku from Samurai Jack, and I think this character sounds closer to that than he does Iroh. But when I heard it, I was like, I've been rewatching Avatar a bunch the last couple of years because I'm getting excited for trying to I don't know, moderate my feelings about the live action series
Try
coming
not
out
to
in a
get
couple
too
weeks.
excited, but like you're still really
Yeah.
excited.
It seems like the other fans are really. I'm excited to see like new story content, not necessarily to see these the same events happen in live action, but just to see new content happening with these characters and new villains and things like that. So that's I don't know. I'm sure it'll be a mixed
Wait,
bag.
so
Like a lot of stuff.
is that it? Like I thought it was going to kind of like retell the story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it's retelling the same overarching story as season 1. But obviously they're going to have to cut out a bunch because only 8 episodes. But they are also adding some in there as well. Like I just hate live action remakes that are a 1-for-1 shot-to-shot remake.
Yeah.
Like Lion King is just a sin. I don't care how beautiful that movie looks. It's just, I mean, and okay, the voice actors are good. I love, yeah, but I don't know. I just don't think there's any purpose in remaking a story if you're just going to do the same thing, or covering a song if you're just going to try to sound the exact same.
Yeah.
Unless you're like an actual cover band.
Yeah.
Like the Nirvana cover band I saw. Incredible.
Yeah.
Blew my mind.
No, but yeah, I think this is the reason why this season is called like Bounty Hunters. Like the like unofficial name of the season is like the Rise of Bounty Hunters. And I also just love seeing the diversity of species and backgrounds.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's what I come to Star Wars looking for. And then of course this one also gets high marks because it has our dynamic trio all together, and they're all kind of like nitpicking on each other. And Ahsoka's like, "You guys aren't arguing yet," and it's just really wholesome. And then of course you get Hondo, and this is the second time I think we see Hondo,
right?
And I love also how he is the villain in this scenario. And he's still like a friend of the Jedi.
Mm-hmm. He's in it for profit. Yeah, he doesn't have any
makes
enemies.
that really clear. And I'm glad that the writers do that, because like even when he leaves at the end, he was like, this situation's no longer profitable for me.
Oh yeah. I love that line.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hondo's great. I love that he takes on Anakin 1v1. Like that's impressive that he's able to keep up with him with a Magna Guard staff for that long.
Yeah. I thought Anakin was like letting him try.
Maybe he was taking it easy because he likes Hondo. Maybe he doesn't want.
He's like, come on, man, you don't know who you're messing with right now.
He's just trying to like take out a leg or two. He's not trying to kill him.
It's like letting him tire himself out. He's like holding his forehead like
Rocky. Yeah. Yes, that's the strategy sometimes. And the tank is cool. I do like the vehicle designs. Hondo flies a UFO. Like that ship's never not going to be cool. Like the circular UFO ship is just like something you don't ever see in Star Wars again. And that's I think when I was a kid. Yeah, I know. It's one of those things that like when I was little and much more of a this is what Star Wars should be kind of person, like I was like, that doesn't fit. I don't like, are they trying to tie in Star Wars to our universe or what? I don't know. But now I'm just like, I don't care. It's just fun and cool and unique and creative. and I am here for all of that stuff. And one other ship design too that I thought was interesting. I don't see a lot of people make this connection, but the ship that's in the garage that the bounty hunters use, it's like basically the Razor Crest. I don't know if you like really like took a good look at it. I think it might be like backwards or like it definitely looks different, but it's the same kind of thing with the two big goofy
Like a big
engines and
cargo
the
ship?
bumblebee body. Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
I guess I
yeah.
didn't look at it that closely, but I love when you get those little nods back in there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I know that there was some other inspiration for the Razor Crest, and I think a lot of fans kind of gleaned onto that one, but I think this is like I think this predates whatever. I feel like I'm not really super confident on those details, but I don't know. I think there's a lot of seeds that they planted in this episode design wise that were reused, like all the Battlefront stuff. I was already talking about it last week, how
Yeah.
like the villager huts are like 1-to-1 recreated in perfect detail in Battlefront. And that's what makes me appreciate that.
That map is so overwhelming.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I think it's because of just the foliage and the color. Like you're used to playing on video game battlegrounds that are pretty like desert or like neutral
Mm-hmm.
earthy tones, and that adds to just like the overwhelmness of things are being shot at me and what is
Yeah.
going on.
It's very alien, hostile kind of environment. The moment they land in this episode, they encounter Rancors, which is also cool. I wish they had shown them a bit more, because Rancors on Felucia is something that's always been, I don't know, for some reason that's been the case that they knew that Rancors are on there. I think they're in The Force Unleashed as well. Just lots of cool details in that episode. I do think also part of it is that everything is so oversized, and even like the big like bridge structures and things like that. Felucia is just like a crazy looking planet, and it's beautiful in a way. I do like the colors and stuff, but also I don't know how I feel about it, because like in some aspects it kind of scares me, but I don't know if I'd want to live there.
Yeah, it's kind of like a bad trip. Like it could easily turn into a bad trip.
Right.
But I also, because it's like such a fungi like based planet, and it really kind of took me back to The Last of Us. I was like, I wonder if this would be where the cordyceps like would have originated from. I bet there's some really freaky fungi in Felucia.
Their hive is down there somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Oh my
could see
gosh, that's
that.
something that could really be explored more if you
Yeah.
think about it.
Maybe in an episode of Blop.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Maybe, yes. For those that are unfamiliar, my Battle Droid fan fiction is moving along, and I love just connecting it to things that are in Star Wars and influences of Star Wars. And Felucia is one of those planets that I used to be pretty indifferent towards, but I've really come around to it because of this episode and because of Battlefront. It is a crazy environment. I thought it was a really weird choice for them to add it into Battlefront over other planets. Like it sounded like such a fake announcement. They said this update we're going to have Felucia and Droidicas and the TH tank, like the clone tank. And it's like all these weird things that like have nothing to do with each other. It was just like,
Yeah.
this looks like it was fabricated. Like the announcement looked like it was like fan made. And I'm like, oh no, apparently all this is real. And Felucia is like the most beautifully detailed map. And it has all this like verticality, and like the same thing with like the mycelium and like all these plants that are trying to kill you, and like the laser fences. And I'm down to see it explored more. So maybe that will be a setting for the zombie apocalypse episode of Blop.
Well, I've also been recently learning about how like fungi, can like connect through soil and like send electro pulses like throughout the ground. And if like Blop gets like a zap of that like function, like what would the fungi be telling him?
You could tap into the shared consciousness of the planet.
Yes.
This is really cool stuff.
Write that down.
We're writing it now. Where's my sticky notes? Yeah.
Yeah. I also wrote down that I loved the mycelium crop, and how like I love just whenever Star Wars or a show like the Clone Wars that has such a platform and like so many episodes and like such a platform to explore the entire world of Star Wars, that you start to deliver some of the details of the economy and the planets and the like geography and all of this kind of stuff. So
The
I
healthcare system.
always love those little details that make it feel real.
Yeah, very lived in world. And it's not just back to like that's one thing that when you
Right.
don't get this amount of time to spend with like, you know, with all these characters and all these planets and diverse environments, like you think that there's only one kind of band-aid solution. Bacta is the healing medicine of Star Wars, but no, there's a pretty intense like geopolitical thing going on. I was thinking about just like the geography of a galaxy in Star Wars. That's what this episode made me really consider, was like how do these farmers, like how do you live on a planet for so long? Like how do species evolve and become sentient and all this stuff without like becoming self-sufficient, right? Or being, because like these farmers are reliant on this intergalactic trade, right? It's like if we don't get these crops, we don't have any money. Like they're reliant on this overall network. So I think there's something interesting to explore in the history of the Republic and how they form and how they acquire planets and then make them dependent on them, you know? And like basically say your value, your life literally is contingent on whether or not you can provide us economic value. And if that doesn't tell you something about the geopolitics of our world,
yeah, no kidding. And also how like reachable those planets have to be and like easily to communicate, like that type of technology, like the fact that you can go to a rural farm planet like that and still have droids out there like communicating back is also just like a crazy phenom to like understand.
Right. Yeah, there's all kinds of different biomes all over the galaxy. This is one of the more extreme ones. So I'm sure there's a lot of value in just the biology of the plants and things there. So I'd be interested. It's weird to see that there's not massive civilizations, or at least that we haven't seen yet. Maybe that's something else they could explore. Is like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of origin stories. Like I wouldn't want to see an origin of the Republic or even origins of the Jedi. And just, I don't need to see how these things came together. But in episodes like this, you can have a discussion of like the interconnectedness and the politics and how they play out, and how the needs of the people are either met or not met by, you know, the Empire versus the Republic. So we'll see if they bring Felucia back in a future episode of something. Bad Batch.
I would love to see like a Visions episode dedicated to that idea.
It might be a good place to hide for a Jedi that's, you know, on the run. Like Yoda goes to Dagobah to cloak his signature, you know, his force energy kind of blends in on Dagobah because there's animals everywhere. Felucia might be another great place to hide. Which is that's actually exactly where Shaak-Ti is in The Force Unleashed. So there you go.
Boom.
We solved it. We should just write it.
They came all the way back around.
We just discovering something that's been
already,
you know, established for 20 years. Yes.
Well, what did we end up ranking this whole episode of episode 17?
Episode 17, I rated it a 70. Wow, I also edged you out on this one. 78%. You gave it 77.6. Really close again. And it seems like all of our...
But that's really high.
It's pretty good. Yeah, I don't think I've ranked any Clone Wars episodes above 80. So like we're getting there.
Yeah, and I also bet that Brody's going to rank this one high just because I know that he's played Battlefront 2. So yeah.
And he's a fan of the bounty hunters, and I love the pirates. I don't think this is another one of those things that I don't know if it's because I just watch things out of order. But I don't know if we've seen Embo yet. Embo's one of the coolest bounty hunters in this show. The dude with the big hat.
He seems familiar. I don't know. Yeah. Does he appear in another episode?
Yeah. He definitely appears later when they go to Alderaan, like the episode it's another Corvus Padme episode. And he's the one hunting them down. So it's kind of cool seeing Anakin and Embo be chill with each other in this episode, and later they're trying to kill each other. That's just the bounty hunter life.
Yep.
Yo-ho, yo-ho. The pirate's life for me.
I love that they also like came back around at the end too. They were like, you know what, we will be friends. You want to get a ride? Which seemed like the most improbable thing about the episode. Like that they were just so overly friendly. But I also kind of felt like she was kind of hitting on them, where she was like, you two are like really cute if you need like a ride back, you know.
Zabraks just have an obsession with Obi-Wan Kenobi, I guess.
Yeah. They're just drawn to him.
And is he drawn to Zabrax though? I don't think so. I
I don't think so. He seems to be attracted to pacifists.
Yeah.
And the Zabrax do not check that box.
Not all Zabrax. I'm sure there's. We can't throw them all.
Not all Zabrax.
Yes.
There's like the one like monk Zabrak that is just very chill.
Yeah, I can see that.
Do you want to? Should we get into hot takes?
Let's let him rip.
Don't be too proud of this podcast you've constructed. The ability to rank content is insignificant next to the power of an exceptional hot take.
It's hot takes time.
It sure is. I have one.
All right.
So my hot take, I felt this when I was watching the Felucians have their like calm little, I love their like little kind of overall vibe, and their farm lifestyle and their pacifist ways. I think I want to retire on Felucia. I think that's like the next retirement destination, and I don't want to like, capitalize on their land and stuff, but I'm just saying when I think about the lifestyle that I want to retire into, it's living in a beautiful, nature rich planet that has medicine and has everything that I need to survive and just be a chill little like retired farm woman, cowgirl.
Yeah, I definitely think there's something to envy about that lifestyle. Like everyone I talk to now just wants to quit their job and become a farmer. Like this.
Yeah, it's the best place to start a commune.
I think farming is awesome and connecting to nature is great. I'm not sure Felucia's the place for that. Like, do you really want to be like running away from rancors? Or like, I don't know. And the Acklay and like, there's so many gigantic monsters that I don't know.
I mean, if the Felucians are such a peaceful species and they've survived as long as they have, they must have some type of like order in society, right?
I don't know. I don't know how they survived living in that the way they. I don't know. They're adorable, but maybe their homes are just like specifically like rancor proof. They're kind of like that defensive dome structure. Maybe they are actually just, and their farms are right there in their community. Maybe they don't have to travel so far that they risk, getting jumped on the way back. And
yeah,
maybe it's fine, but I still wouldn't want to have to hide from.
Okay, well, yeah, I'm gonna take my hot take back then because you've brought up some very good points that I didn't consider. But I would like to join a retirement home with a bunch of Felucians.
There we go. I could see it. Yeah, they'd be some chill people to hang out with and just ride into the sunset.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I just can't tell if I find Felucia beautiful or scary. I don't know. Like the colors are kind of pretty, but the sky is like all yellow. Like that just makes me think of like methane and factories.
Yeah. Like, am I safe to breathe here?
I don't know. Yellow is not my favorite color
of air to breathe.
Yeah. Not my favorite flavor.
Yeah. I get that. Do you have a hot take for us tonight?
I do. Well, I love Ahsoka. I think it would be hard for me to call anyone but Ahsoka like the best character from this show. And I do love, like, this is one of those few episodes that you get to see the main trio like together and just, bantering the whole time. And it's great. But I think this episode is just elevated so much by the fact that Hondo is there. And every time Hondo is on screen, I'm like, why? Like, how does he not have his own show or like, like anything? How is he not a bigger deal than he is? Because he's so unique amongst all Star Wars characters, but he does fit into it and into the mythos because there is crime and villainy, and he's just one of those guys. And he's, the same, a species that was established since Return of the Jedi. In fact, I would love to see some connections there between his crew and Jabba's crew. I'm sure there's more connections there than we know of. But I don't know. I think Hondo is like by far, other than Ahsoka, the best original Clone Wars character.
Yeah, I have to definitely agree. I don't know if it's a hot take or if it's really easy for me to agree with. Because I'm also a big Hondo fan, and of course you can't really say that that anyone is really better than Ahsoka. But I'm gonna put on my Brody hat right now,
Please.
and I'm going to say what I think. I think Brody would disagree with you, and I think he would say that Rex is a better character.
It's a better original character.
Yeah,
I'm sure he would say that.
Doesn't that sound like very much like him?
It does.
But he's not here. So that means you get a...
All right. That's okay with me. I mean, as much as I love like Rex, I don't know. The clones are like actually not the most interesting thing about this show to me. Like once in a while they get some good episodes with some interesting insight. Like clones like what's his name? Cut LaQuaine, who Brody hates. For some
I also hate I hate Cut LaQuaine.
Why?
I hate his mutton chops.
Mutton chops, that's so unfair.
And his kids.
I think they're actually his adopted kids now that I've gone back and thought this through, because there's no way like the Clone Wars is not more than 3 years long. Like
right.
They're
also
like
his mutton chops are like so grown out. It looks like he's like so old.
Yeah, he definitely gives off like retired vibes. But like he's the one clone to just break away and do the exact thing that you're saying, which is become a peaceful farmer and just
That's true.
say no to war.
Yeah, what is that other clone? Not Sifo Dyas. That's not a clone. He's hiding in... Oh man, I can't remember it. It's later on in the season.
Oh,
but...
you're thinking of Gregor, the commando?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's a really great story.
Yeah, that's one I kind of forget about a lot. I'm excited to get back to that one because it's about droids. I love the droids episodes, and Gregor's cool, and he's also one of them that survives into Rebels.
Yeah, exactly. So that's cool. I bet that Brody would definitely be like calling about Rex.
Rex is fine. I think he's kind of basic.
Again, they're leaders of like their troop.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of a simple role, maybe.
I think he definitely becomes interesting, like outside of the context of the Clone Wars. Like I do love the dual pistols are cool, and he does have the coolest helmet because it's that blend of Phase 1 and Phase 2. He's like the only clone that really appreciates Phase 1 like I do. I think the Phase 1 armor is so sick. But like other than that, he's just kind of like I don't know. I'm too much of a rebel.
Like, yeah, it's almost like any character that would be there would be beloved. You know what I mean? Like just to be revered in that role offers a lot of likability and platform. But Rex is iconic. I'm not dogging on Rex right now. I'm not ready to dive into that.
No, I won't dog on later Rex. I think Rebels Rex is really cool, and I'm glad we got to see a little cameo in Ahsoka, but they absolutely had the potential to make him an actual character in the plot of that show, and they just like
they must have some beef with like Tamara.
I don't think it's beef at all, because like he seems like he's like, yeah, I want to do it. They just haven't called me. I think it maybe just like they react too harshly to like criticism. Like Book of Boba Fett got so harshly criticized that they just don't want to touch it. And I think that's the wrong approach. I think Disney's listening to the fans too much, far too much, in terms of like when they don't like something, they just like ignore it. Whereas like a much better approach is to say, okay, maybe we goofed up a little bit. Now let's, kind of justify it or explain it, expand on it, which is something I think The Last Jedi does really well. It's taking things from The Force Awakens. I was thinking about the line with Snoke and Kylo Ren at the beginning of the movie, and how like everyone complains about Rey not training and being able to beat Anakin's grandson and all these things. Oh, she's overpowered. She's a Mary Sue. But like in episode 8, they go out of their way at the beginning of the episode to establish you are unbalanced. Bested by a girl who'd never held a lightsaber, you failed. Like that was intense, and that was like a good explanation of what was going on in Ben's mind, and how like later in the movie that you literally do see Rey training. Like they definitely are aware of all of these like issues people have, and people are so ungrateful when they whenever we do get that explanation, because they're just so ready to, I don't know, to follow just whatever the YouTube hive mind says.
Yeah, they just want to be bad. They want to be mad.
Moral of the story, don't listen to YouTube. Form your own opinions, people.
But listen to Duel of the Ranks.
If you're listening on YouTube, yes. And listen, if you're listening on Spotify, don't come to YouTube. We don't your kind here. No, kidding. We want everyone here. The live shows are very fun. You get to see our incredible facial expressions and our beautiful hair. And my background's a little messy right now, but Amanda's got a shirt.
I've got a TJ Maxx, like kind of Japanese knockoff Star Wars.
I was wondering, shirt, I can see Boba Fett and R2-D2, but there's a lot of characters on it.
Yeah.
Does Luke have red hair?
He does.
Nice. Why not? Let's just, What is canon? Not my Luke. My Luke has blonde hair.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know. Do you have any last final thoughts about these episodes or anything?
No, I think that that kind of wraps it all up for me.
We really hit on a lot of points. These are for one-off episodes. I feel like we were able to talk about them far more than any of the other one-off and some of the arcs too. Like there was so much more to discuss here than in any of those. And next up, what do we have in the timeline?
Let's see. We have have 2 episodes next week. We're reviewing episodes 18 and 19, The Zillo Beast and The Zillo Beast Strikes Back.
Brody better be here for that one because he's a major Godzilla fan.
Yes.
I'm super excited for these next episodes.
And then there's just one more arc left, right? Is the last arc just 3 episodes, I think?
For season 2, yes. Then it's more bounty hunter stuff. Yeah, this is the bounty hunter season for real. Like we got Boba Fett stuff at the beginning, and this is. I kind of just hope they keep up with the bounty. We never get as much bounty hunter content, pretty much ever throughout the rest of Star Wars canon. So this is the time to appreciate all the cool designs, the cool ships, and interesting species, the culture of Star Wars.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll find out what happens next week on the Zillo Beast. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It's been a blast. My name's Brian. This is Amanda, and we've had a good time. Don't forget to check us out on Instagram. No, we're not on Instagram. What are we on, Amanda?
We're on YouTube for the most part right now. That's about it.
That's about it. All right. Oh, Austin's ready for the Zillo Beast episode. Okay. Well,
heck yeah, thanks, Austin.
That's it for this episode. Tune in next week, and we'll see you around.